Tell me, have you ever felt like your miracle is just out of reach? But what if I told you it's closer than you think? I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, what if the thing you've been waiting for, the miracle that you've long desired, is closer than you think? What if it is not a matter of time, but a matter of belief? What if I told you that the secret to receiving what you desire is already within you, and you only need to understand the law of creation to bring it into being? You see, manifestation is not something that happens outside of you. It is something that occurs within you. And what is happening inside will ultimately shape what happens in the world around you. The external world you see before you is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the state of your mind, your thoughts, and your feelings. Whatever you experience, good or bad, is simply a reflection of what you have accepted as true about yourself and the world. So, if you want to change your world, you must first change what you believe. Now, most people live in a world of reaction. They look at their circumstances, they look at their challenges, and they allow those external realities to shape their feelings. They feel defeated when things aren't going their way, and they feel excited only when things align with their desires. But the truth is, this external validation will never bring you the lasting peace or joy that comes from knowing you are the creator of your own experience. This is where you must realize that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are the creator, the architect of your own reality, and everything around you is a reflection of the inner state you choose to occupy. If you want a different life, you must create it. It begins with your inner world, and specifically with your imagination. Imagination is not something separate from you. It is not an abstract concept. Imagination is your ability to create your reality. It is the faculty that allows you to see beyond what your physical eyes can perceive. It is the tool that you use to project your desires into the world. And through the power of imagination, you shape the very fabric of your existence. Think about it. Every great thing that has ever been created in this world began as a thought. Every invention, every piece of art, every act of kindness, every moment of love, all started as a single thought, an idea in someone's mind. But those thoughts weren't just random thoughts. They were focused, persistent, and believed to be possible. The key to manifestation is not just in thinking about your desires, but in living them, feeling them, and embodying them as if they already exist. It is about understanding that your imagination is the most powerful force in your life. Now, let's talk about the crucial concept of living in the end. Many people think that they need to focus on the how of their desires. They believe that their desires will come to them when the right circumstances line up, when the right people come into their lives, or when they've done enough work to earn it. But I am here to tell you that the process of manifestation begins with your assumption. You do not need to wait for the world to align before you start living the life you want. Instead, you begin to live in the end result. You begin to assume the feeling of already having what you desire. This is where most people go wrong. They wait for external circumstances to change before they begin to believe. But I am telling you, you must believe first. When you begin to live in the end, you start to feel the emotions, the sensations, and the excitement of having your desires right now. It's not about waiting for some future event to manifest. It's about understanding that time is not your enemy. Time is merely a reflection of the inner state you occupy. If you live as though you have already received your desire, if you embody that feeling of fulfillment right now, you will begin to see the world shift around you. The world will change to reflect your inner belief, and your desires will materialize in your life. Let's take an example to make this clearer. Suppose you have a goal. Perhaps you want to be financially successful. Many people focus on the fact that they are not yet financially successful, and they dwell on the struggles of their current situation. This only reinforces the lack they feel. But if you were to live in the feeling of already being financially free, If you were to assume the feeling of having money already, even before it appears in your bank account, your world would begin to change. You would act, think, and feel as though you are already financially free. And as you do, the universe will begin to align with that truth. The feeling of already having your desire is key. It's not about wishing or hoping for something to happen. It's about feeling it, knowing it, being it. You see, the universe responds to your inner state, not to your outer circumstances. What you feel deeply and consistently is what the universe will bring to you. If you dwell in feelings of lack or limitation, that is what you will continue to receive. But if you dwell in feelings of abundance, success, and gratitude, your life will reflect that. Here's where it gets truly powerful. The moment you decide to believe, your life changes. You don't need to wait for some magical event to occur. You don't need to wait for the world to align with your desires. The moment you choose to believe that your desire is already yours, you begin to act as if it is already in your life. You must continue to live as though your miracle is on its way, because it is. The power of your imagination is what is bringing it to you. But don't give up when it seems hard. When doubt creeps in and you begin to question whether your desires are truly coming, hold firm in your belief. The world is constantly shifting to match your thoughts. When you stay persistent, when you continue to live in the feeling of fulfillment, your miracle is already in motion. The moment you align with your desired state, everything begins to change. Your thoughts are your creation, and as long as you remain true to your inner vision, the world must match that vision. So I ask you today, are you ready to live as though your miracle is already here? If you want to see your desires materialize, you must first feel them. Live in the end. Assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, and know that everything you have ever dreamed of is already on its way to you. Your miracle is coming. Don't give up. Stay focused, stay faithful, and know that your thoughts are shaping the reality you will soon experience. You said, expand, second keynote detailed on Neville Goddard style. Do not add subheadings, conclusion, and don't mention him must be of 800 words. And speech must be an educational way. ChatGPT said, manifestation is not about waiting for the world to change. It is about changing yourself first. You see, your outer world is simply a reflection of your inner state. The key to understanding manifestation is realizing that you do not have to wait for external conditions to align with your desires. Instead, you must start with the inner feeling of already having what you want, and the external world will follow suit. This is the core of living in the end. It is not enough to simply hope for what you want or wish for it. You must live as though it is already yours. Living in the end requires you to fully embody the emotions, thoughts, and behaviors associated with your fulfilled desire. If you desire financial freedom, for example, you do not wait for the external world to give you permission to feel wealthy. You begin by feeling wealthy now, in the present moment. Imagine yourself already living in the abundance that you desire, and then live your life as though that abundance is already a part of you. This is a shift in consciousness. It is about taking on the state of the person who already has what they desire, not in some distant future, but now. Many people make the mistake of focusing on the how of their desires. They think that they need to figure out the steps or processes that will lead them to their goal, but the secret is not in the how. The secret is in the feeling. You must experience your desire as though it has already been fulfilled. And when you do, you will find that the how will begin to unfold naturally. The steps will reveal themselves, the people will come into your life, and the opportunities will open up. All because you have aligned your internal world with your desired outcome. Think about the process of creation. Every great achievement, every remarkable success story began as a thought, an idea, or a desire in someone's mind. But that thought didn't stay as just an idea. It was nourished, believed, and acted upon as if it were already true. This is what living in the end is about. You take your desire, and instead of waiting for the world to change, you become the person who already has that desire fulfilled. It is not about looking for signs or evidence in the external world that your desire is on its way. It is about believing it is already here, right now. The key to unlocking this power is to feel the feeling of the wish fulfilled. When you feel as if your desire is already realized, you align with the vibration of that reality. The emotional charge of your desire is the frequency that will attract it to you. Emotions are powerful. They are the language that the universe understands, and they are what bring your desires into being. It is not enough to just think about what you want. You must feel it in your heart. You must feel the excitement, the joy, and the satisfaction of having your desire right now. This emotional engagement with your desire is what fuels the manifestation process. Now, it's important to understand that this is not about denying reality or pretending that your circumstances are different than they are. Instead, it's about choosing to focus your attention on the reality you want to experience. Your current circumstances are merely a reflection of your past thoughts and beliefs. They do not have to dictate your future. The power lies in your ability to shift your focus, to focus on the end result, and to feel the reality of your desire as though it has already come to pass. Living in the end is not about passively waiting for things to change. It is an active, powerful process. It requires you to take on the state of the person who already has what they desire. Imagine how that person thinks, how they feel, and how they act. Begin to embody those qualities and characteristics now. When you step into that state of being, you begin to magnetize your desire toward you. You become a living embodiment of the reality you want to experience. One of the most important aspects of living in the end is faith. Faith is not blind hope. It is the deep knowing that your desire is already fulfilled, even when there is no physical evidence to prove it. Faith is the internal conviction that what you have imagined, what you have felt, is already yours. The moment you make that inner shift, the world must respond. Your faith is the bridge between your inner vision and its outer manifestation. The more you maintain your faith and your focus on the end result, the faster your desire will show up in your life. It's important to remember that the process of manifestation is not something that happens in a linear way. Time, as you experience it, is not the determining factor in the speed of your manifestation. What matters most is the intensity of your belief and the clarity of your inner vision. The more vividly you can imagine your desire, the more real it will feel to you. And when it feels real to you, the universe will begin to shift things in your favor. People often ask, when will my desire manifest? The answer is simple. It will manifest the moment you fully align with it, the moment you feel the emotions of already having it, the moment you believe it is already here. Your manifestation will begin to take shape in the physical world. The time it takes is not determined by the world around you, but by the strength of your inner conviction. Now, this is not to say that external action is unnecessary. However, the actions you take must be inspired by your inner state. They must come from a place of certainty and knowing that your desire is already fulfilled. When you act from this place, your actions will be aligned with your inner vision. And you will find that everything you do brings you closer to the manifestation of your desire. You are not waiting for the world to change. You are changing the world by changing yourself. The moment you shift your consciousness, the moment you live in the end, everything will begin to rearrange itself to reflect that new inner state. The world will show up differently, and your desire will materialize in ways you could not have imagined. It's the law of creation, and it's always working for you, whether you are aware of it or not. So embrace the power of living in the end. Live as though your desire is already fulfilled. Feel the emotions of success, fulfillment, and joy now. Be the person who has already received what they want, and watch as the world transforms to match that reality. The universe is waiting to bring your desires to life. All you have to do is live as though they are already here. You said, expand third keynote, detailed on Neville Goddard style. Do not add subheadings. Conclusion and don't mention him must be of 800 words. And speech must be in educational way. ChatGPT said, manifestation is not about struggling to make things happen. It is about aligning with the natural flow of your desires, trusting that the universe is already in motion and allowing what you desire to unfold. The key to achieving your desires lies in understanding that you are not at the mercy of external circumstances. Instead, you are the one who creates your reality through your inner world, specifically through the use of your imagination and your assumptions. Your thoughts, feelings, and beliefs are the forces that shape your external world, and once you master them, you will see that what you desire is already on its way. So often, people focus on the how of their desires. They become obsessed with figuring out how their goals will manifest in the physical world. They spend countless hours trying to plan and strategize, only to find themselves frustrated and confused when their desired outcome does not come in the form they expected. The truth is, the how is not your responsibility. The universe has infinite ways of bringing your desires to fruition, and it will do so in ways that you cannot predict. Your job is not to worry about how things will unfold. It is to believe that your desire is already on its way. What you must focus on is not the external world, but your internal world. Your internal world is where the power lies. Your thoughts and beliefs are the forces that shape your reality. If you want to change your life, you must change the way you think. If you continue to think in terms of lack, limitation, and struggle, that is exactly what you will experience. However, if you choose to think in terms of abundance, success, and possibility, your external circumstances will reflect that shift. The world you see is merely a mirror of the world you create inside your mind. Your imagination is the tool through which you create your reality. It is the key to manifestation. When you imagine something, you are giving life to it in your inner world. The more vividly you can imagine your desired outcome, the more real it becomes to you, and the more likely it is to manifest in the physical world. Your imagination is not just a passive activity. It is an active, creative force that shapes your life. The clearer and more vivid your imagination becomes, the stronger the pull of your desires will be in the external world. One of the most important concepts to understand when it comes to manifestation is the law of assumption. This law states that you do not have to wait for external circumstances to align before you can begin to live as if your desire is already fulfilled. Instead, you must assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled. You must begin to live as though your desire has already manifested. By doing this, you are aligning your thoughts, feelings, and actions with the reality you want to create. The law of assumption teaches that once you assume the feeling of your desire, the universe must conform to that assumption. If you assume that you are already wealthy, healthy, or successful, then you will begin to experience those things in your life. It is important to note that this is not a form of blind optimism or wishful thinking. It is not about pretending that everything is perfect when it is not. Instead, it is about recognizing that your assumptions are the key to bringing your desires into your reality. The act of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled is powerful because it allows you to live from the perspective of already having what you want. Most people make the mistake of waiting for something external to change before they begin to feel the way they want to feel. They think, I will feel successful when I achieve my goal, or I will feel loved when someone shows me affection. But the secret is to feel those emotions now, even if the external circumstances have not yet changed. When you begin to feel successful, abundant, or loved, you are sending out a signal to the universe that you are already aligned with those things. Your vibration changes, and the universe responds to that vibration. The more you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, the more it becomes your reality. The universe must match your internal state, and in doing so, it will begin to bring you the people, events, and opportunities that align with your desires. It is important to understand that the law of assumption is not about forcing or controlling your circumstances. Instead, it is about trusting that the universe is already working in your favor and that your desires are already in motion. You do not need to try to manipulate or force things to happen. The key is to simply align your thoughts and feelings with the end result and allow the universe to do the rest. One of the greatest misconceptions about manifestation is that it requires a great deal of effort or struggle. People often believe that they must work hard, struggle, or suffer in order to earn their desires. However, the truth is that manifestation is a natural process. It is a law of the universe. And once you understand it and align with it, things will begin to flow effortlessly to you. Manifestation is not about effort. It is about alignment. When you are aligned with your desires, the universe will move in ways you cannot even imagine to bring those desires into your life. Another important point is that you must not let doubt creep in. Doubt is the greatest enemy of manifestation because it shifts your focus away from your desired outcome and back onto your current circumstances. When you doubt, you are focusing on the opposite of what you want. Doubt will only delay your manifestation. The key is to have unwavering faith that your desire is already on its way. This faith does not require evidence from the physical world. It is a deep knowing that what you desire is already yours. To practice this effectively, take time every day to connect with the feeling of already having what you want. Visualize your desires as already fulfilled. Feel the emotions that would come with having your desire in your life. Feel the joy, the excitement, the gratitude. Allow yourself to be in that state of feeling as often as possible. The more you can stay in that state, the faster your desires will manifest. The universe responds to your inner state. If you want to see changes in your outer world, you must first change your inner world. The moment you align your inner state with your desires, the external world will begin to shift in ways you cannot predict. The key to manifesting your desires is not in the external world. It is in you. You have the power to create the life you want through your thoughts, feelings, and assumptions. The universe is already conspiring to bring your desires to you. All you need to do is believe, feel, and live as though they are already yours. The rest will fall into place effortlessly. You said, expand 4-art keynote detailed on Neville Goddard's style. Do not add subheadings, conclusion, and don't mention him. Must be of 800 words and speech must be in educational way. ChatGPT said, the power of imagination is often underestimated, yet it is one of the most significant and transformative tools you possess. Your imagination is not a mere fantasy or daydreaming mechanism. It is the very force that shapes your reality. Imagination is the act of visualizing a state or an outcome before it has physically manifested. It is through imagination that you bring forth what you desire into the world. The key to understanding the transformative power of imagination is recognizing that what you imagine with feeling becomes your reality. Imagination is not simply about creating mental pictures or visualizing the things you want. It is about connecting with the emotional charge of those pictures, the essence of what you desire. Your imagination, when coupled with feeling, has the power to shift your current state and bring you closer to your desires. The act of imagining allows you to create a new experience, a new reality that your mind, body, and spirit will begin to accept as true. Once your inner self accepts the image of your desire as reality, it must manifest in the outer world as the universe responds to your inner state of being. Many people fail to understand the true power of imagination because they see it as separate from the material world. They might think of imagination as something that happens only in the mind, disconnected from reality. However, imagination is deeply connected to the physical world. Everything in your world began as an idea, a thought, a mental picture. The chair you are sitting in, the phone you are using, the house you live in, all of it began in someone's imagination. It was once a vision, an idea, And as that vision was nurtured and believed, it became reality. Imagination allows you to experience what you desire before it physically exists. This is one of the greatest secrets of creation. You don't have to wait for your desires to appear in your outer world before you can experience them. The moment you begin to imagine your desire as real, you are already creating it. The more vividly and emotionally you can connect with that imagined state, the faster it will manifest. When you imagine something with strong emotion and conviction, you are imprinting that vision into your subconscious mind. The subconscious mind does not distinguish between what is real and what is vividly imagined. It accepts the images you provide as truth. This is where imagination becomes a powerful tool for manifestation. What you impress upon your subconscious mind will eventually be reflected in your outer world. For instance, if you want to manifest abundance, you must start by vividly imagining yourself as abundant. Imagine what it would feel like to be financially free. Imagine the freedom, the peace, the joy that would accompany that state. See yourself living in abundance, not in the future, but right now. Feel the emotions of having everything you desire, even though it may not yet be visible in your current reality. This emotional connection is essential because it aligns your inner state with your desire. As you continue to nurture this imagined state with consistent feelings of joy, satisfaction, and gratitude, the universe will begin to rearrange itself to match that inner state. The emotional component of imagination is vital because emotions are the energetic charge that gives power to your thoughts. Thoughts alone are not enough. They must be charged with emotion to create a powerful force of attraction. Think about it. When you feel deeply about something, your energy shifts. When you are emotionally engaged in something, your focus sharpens and your entire being becomes attuned to that vision. This is the point where your imagination and your emotions work together to create a magnetic force that draws your desires to you. Many people make the mistake of imagining their desires from a place of doubt or uncertainty. They might imagine what they want, but they do so without truly believing that it will happen. This weakens the power of their imagination. For imagination to work effectively, it must be paired with absolute faith and certainty. You cannot simply wish for something. You must believe that it is already yours. When you imagine something, imagine it with the absolute certainty that it is already in your possession. The power of your imagination is limitless when you combine it with a deep belief that what you desire is already here. When you visualize, you are not just painting a picture in your mind, you are setting a course for your life. Your imagination serves as a blueprint for your future, and the more you use it, the more real your imagined desires become in your physical world. Imagination is the first step in bringing your desires into tangible reality. It is the catalyst that sets the manifestation process in motion. Your imagination has the power to transcend time and space. When you vividly imagine and experience, you are not confined by the limitations of your current circumstances. Imagination allows you to step into any desired reality, regardless of where you are in the world or what your present situation may be. By imagining yourself in your desired state, you transcend your current environment, and the universe begins to bring that imagined state into your life. Furthermore, the more you practice using your imagination in a focused and intentional way, the more natural it becomes. Over time, you begin to strengthen your ability to visualize. And this practice helps you to stay aligned with your desires. Visualization becomes a habit, and the more you imagine, the more your reality shifts in response to those images. Your subconscious mind begins to accept those images as truth, and as a result, the universe brings the conditions necessary to bring them into your life. However, it is important to stay persistent in your practice. Imagination requires consistency and discipline. Your desires may not manifest immediately, and your current circumstances may still reflect old patterns, but you must trust that your imagination is at work. As you continue to nurture your imagined state with strong emotion and belief, the physical world will inevitably shift to reflect that state. Imagination is the key to unlocking the life you desire. By using your imagination intentionally, you create the foundation for your dreams to manifest. Your mind is the canvas, and the life you want to live is the painting you are creating. The more vividly and emotionally you connect with your desires in your imagination, the more quickly and effortlessly they will manifest in the physical world. You are the creator of your own reality, and through the power of your imagination, you can bring your deepest desires into being. He said, expand fifth keynote detailed on Neville Goddard style. Do not add subheadings, conclusion, and don't mention him. Must be of 800 words and speech must be in educational way. ChatGPT said, the law of assumption is a profound and often misunderstood principle, yet it holds the key to transforming your reality. It is the idea that what you assume to be true about yourself and your life, even in the absence of external evidence, becomes your reality. The law of assumption is simple yet powerful, and once you understand how to apply it in your own life, you will realize that everything you have ever desired is within your reach. It is not about waiting for external conditions to change. It is about changing the assumptions you hold about yourself and your circumstances. At the core of the law of assumption is the understanding that your assumptions shape your beliefs, and your beliefs shape your reality. What you believe to be true, whether it is positive or negative, is what you will experience in your life. If you assume that you are not good enough, not worthy of success, or unable to achieve your dreams, then that assumption becomes your reality. On the other hand, if you assume that you are capable, deserving, and worthy of all the success and abundance the world has to offer, then that assumption too will become your reality. The law of assumption works because it aligns your inner state with the outcome you desire. When you assume something to be true, you begin to embody that belief, and the world around you begins to reflect it. This is where many people miss the point. They assume that they will never achieve their desires, and as a result, they continue to attract circumstances that reinforce that assumption. But when you change your assumption, even if it feels unnatural at first, the world will begin to shift in ways you cannot predict. To understand the law of assumption fully, it's essential to recognize that assumption is not wishful thinking. It is not about hoping something will happen or praying for a miracle to occur. Assumption is the act of believing and feeling as though your desire has already been fulfilled. It is about becoming the person who already possesses what they desire. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with that reality. And as a result, the universe responds accordingly. The power of assumption lies in its ability to influence your subconscious mind. Your subconscious mind is like a fertile garden that will accept any seed you plant in it. If you plant seeds of doubt, fear, and insecurity, those seeds will grow and manifest in your life. However, if you plant seeds of confidence, faith, and trust, those seeds will also grow, and your reality will reflect that inner belief. The law of assumption works by impressing the subconscious mind with the assumption that your desires are already a reality. Once the subconscious mind accepts this assumption as truth, it will begin to work in harmony with your conscious mind to bring that desire into physical form. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are training your subconscious mind to believe that what you desire is already a part of your experience. This is why it is crucial to live in the end, rather than focusing on how to get to your goal or worrying about how things will unfold. You focus on the end result. You assume that your desire is already here, and you live as if it has already manifested. The moment you embody the end result, your subconscious mind begins to work tirelessly to bring it into being. You stop asking for what you want, and instead you begin to act, think, and feel as though it is already yours. This is not a passive process. The law of assumption requires you to be actively involved in the creation of your reality. It demands that you take responsibility for your inner world, because your inner world is what creates your outer world. You must be willing to assume the feeling of your desire, even when the evidence in your external reality contradicts it. It takes faith, courage, and persistence to maintain the assumption that your desire is already here. But once you make that assumption and truly embody it, the universe has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The law of assumption is also deeply tied to the concept of faith. Faith is not something that you need to wait for or hope for. It is the unwavering belief that your desire is already yours, even when there is no physical evidence to support it. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you are exercising faith. You are trusting that the universe is already working to bring your desire to fruition, even though you cannot see it yet in the physical world. This is where many people struggle, because they expect to see immediate results. They expect to see signs or evidence that their desires are on their way. But faith requires that you trust in the unseen, that you believe in the invisible forces working on your behalf. Living in the end is key to the law of assumption. It's not enough to wish for something or hope for it in the future. You must begin to live as though it has already happened. You must act, think, and feel as though your desire is already part of your experience. The more you align your inner world with your desired outcome, the more you will begin to see that outcome manifest in your outer world. The law of assumption is also a powerful tool for overcoming doubt and fear. When you assume the feeling of the wish fulfilled, doubt and fear begin to lose their power. They no longer have the ability to control your thoughts or emotions because you are so focused on the end result. When you live in the assumption that your desire is already here, doubt and fear simply cannot exist in your mind. They cannot enter your consciousness because you are too focused on the certainty that your desire is already part of your reality. It is essential to remember that the law of assumption is not about waiting for the external world to change. It is about changing your assumptions and believing that what you desire is already here. When you change your assumptions, the world around you begins to change as well. The universe begins to rearrange itself to match your new inner state, and your desires begin to manifest in ways you could not have predicted. The law of assumption is one of the most powerful tools at your disposal. It allows you to become the creator of your own reality. By assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, you begin to live in the end result and align your inner state with your desires. As you continue to do this, your world begins to reflect your assumptions, and the reality you desire becomes your truth. The law of assumption is always at work, whether you are aware of it or not. By choosing to consciously assume the feeling of your desire already being fulfilled, you take control of your life and create the future you desire. You said, expand 6 keynote detailed on Neville Goddard style, do not add subheadings. Conclusion and don't mention him must be of 800 words, and speech must be in educational way. ChatGPT said, the power of imagination is not just in the act of visualizing what you want, but in truly experiencing it with all of your senses as if it has already happened. Imagination is the creative force that shapes your reality, and through it, you can draw into your life the very things you desire. It is not enough to simply think about your goals or dream of them passively. To bring your desires into physical reality, you must live in the experience of your imagined desire. This is where many people miss the point. They imagine their goals, but they do so without fully embodying the feeling of having already achieved them. The key to manifestation lies in experiencing the end result in the present moment. And that is where imagination comes into play. When you imagine your desires, it is essential that you do not see them as something to be achieved in the future. Instead, you must see them as already yours, fully realized in the present moment. Your imagination is a tool that allows you to step into a reality that has yet to be seen by your physical senses, but that you feel deeply in your emotional self. It is in this space of belief and vivid emotional connection that you can begin to experience your desires as real. And by doing so, you shift your external circumstances to match this inner experience. Imagination is not merely a mental exercise, it is an emotional one. When you engage with your desires in the realm of imagination, you are not simply running a mental picture of your desired outcome. You must feel it as though it is happening right now. The emotion that you attach to the image is what activates the process of manifestation. Imagine yourself in your ideal situation. Feel the excitement, the peace, the joy, the relief. Whatever emotion would accompany the fulfillment of your desire, you must experience it fully in your imagination. The clearer and stronger the emotional connection to the imagined experience, the more powerful it becomes in shaping your reality. To truly harness the power of imagination, you must fully immerse yourself in the feeling of already having your desire. Imagine not just the result, but the details, the surroundings, the textures, the sounds, and the smells that come with it. The more vivid and real the image becomes in your mind, the more likely it is to be reflected in your life. The key is that the imagination must not remain in the realm of wishful thinking. It must be felt as real in the present moment, despite the absence of tangible evidence. Your physical senses may not perceive it yet, but when your imagination is so real that it feels just as vivid and meaningful as anything you can touch or see, you begin to tap into the creative forces that are shaping your life. You must understand that the physical world is a reflection of your inner world. Imagination allows you to align your inner world with the reality you wish to experience. Your external world is not separate from you, it is the mirror image of your inner state. This is why it is crucial that you focus on imagining the end result of your desires as already fulfilled. This inner alignment with the end state allows the universe to rearrange itself in such a way that the events, people, and circumstances that will bring about your desire will naturally flow into your life. Imagination gives you the power to transcend the limitations of the physical world and step into any reality you choose. For example, if you are facing a challenge in your life, whether it's financial struggles, relationship issues, or health concerns, you can use your imagination to change the way you experience those challenges. By vividly imagining yourself in a state of abundance, peace, or health, you shift the energy around you. The key is to persist in the imagined feeling of success and well-being until it becomes so real to you that it dominates your thoughts, actions, and beliefs. When you do this, the physical world must eventually reflect that change. Your imagination is a gateway to an infinite number of possibilities. When you take the time to immerse yourself in the experience of already having what you want, you open the door to a new reality. The more consistently you imagine your desires as already being fulfilled, the more powerful your thoughts become. Imagination is the bridge between your inner world and the outer world. And the more you practice using it, the more you will notice that the world around you begins to align with your thoughts and feelings. At times, the external world may seem to contradict your imaginations. You may look around and see evidence that your desires have not yet manifested, and this can cause doubt. However, it is important to recognize that this external evidence is temporary and does not define your future. The key is to continue imagining and feeling your desires as already fulfilled, regardless of what your physical senses are telling you. When you persist in this belief, the external world will eventually catch up to your inner state. When you imagine, you must do so with complete faith in the power of your thoughts and emotions. The moment you begin to doubt or question your imagined desires, you weaken the power of your imagination. Doubt is the enemy of manifestation because it shifts your focus away from the desired outcome and back onto your current circumstances. The more you doubt, the more you reinforce the belief that your desires are unattainable. This is why it is crucial to remain steadfast in your belief that your desires are already a reality. The moment you stop questioning and begin fully trusting in the power of your imagination, you will begin to see the outer world shift in response to your inner state. It is also important to note that imagination works on a subconscious level. Your subconscious mind does not know the difference between what is imagined and what is real. When you imagine something vividly enough, it becomes accepted by your subconscious as truth, and once it is accepted as truth, the universe begins to bring that truth into being. This is why it is so important to continually feed your subconscious mind with positive, vivid, and emotionally charged images of your desired reality. As you do this, you are reprogramming your subconscious to accept the life you wish to experience. Ultimately, the power of imagination lies in its ability to transform your inner state and, in turn, your outer world. When you persist in imagining your desires as already fulfilled, you are not merely daydreaming, you are actively creating the reality you wish to experience. The more you engage with your imagination in this way, the more quickly and effortlessly your desires will manifest in your physical reality. Your imagination is the key to unlocking your full potential and creating the life you have always dreamed of. You said, right conclusion of all speech. ChatGPT said, in the end, the power to transform your life lies within you, rooted in your thoughts, feelings, and the way you choose to engage with your desires. Every moment you spend consciously imagining your dreams and living as though they are already realized brings you one step closer to seeing them manifest in your world. The key to manifestation is not in waiting for the world to change around you, but in changing your inner world, your assumptions, beliefs, and emotional states. Through your imagination, your assumptions, and your inner alignment, you create the life you desire. It all begins with the belief that your miracle is already on its way and living as though it has already arrived. You are the creator of your reality, and once you master the art of living in the end, feeling your desires as already fulfilled, and trusting in the unseen forces working on your behalf, you will see your dreams unfold in the most remarkable ways. The universe responds to your inner state and is constantly rearranging itself to bring you what you truly believe and feel. So, continue to imagine, continue to believe, and know that your miracle is coming. Keep living in the end, and it will come to you effortlessly and naturally.